From season 4, episode 3 didn't just add new clues, it changed the pattern. Because things in this town aren't just happening anymore, they're building towards something. Time doesn't feel frozen anymore. It feels like it's moving, like something is counting down. And at the same time, the objects in this town are starting to feel more important than the people actually holding them. So maybe we've been looking at this the wrong way. Maybe From isn't just a mystery to solve, maybe it's a system to understand. And if that's true, then the real question isn't what Fromville is, it's how this system is using the people inside it. So today, I'm breaking down 5 clues you probably missed that point to something much bigger going on. I'll also be discussing a few questions that I have after watching this episode. But before we get started, let me introduce myself if you're new here. And if you're not new here, then welcome back. My name is Brandy, and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world, but you're right here with me, and I really do appreciate that. So please go ahead and like this video. It really does help the channel out, and I greatly appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy watching TV show reviews. Now, clue number 1 is the most unsettling for me. We see that the man in yellow, aka Sophia, chose to take a tooth instead of the personal belongings of the priest. Right before Sophia removed the tooth, we see that Kenny, he walked into the clinic and he told her,
I brought you some things from your dad's car.
And he left a box full of items for her. So she had options. So for her memento, she could have chose a personal item that represents him, something that holds some meaning. But she ignores everything in the box for now. Instead, she reaches into his mouth, pulls out his tooth effortlessly with no tools. And Sophia's choice to remove his tooth wasn't random. Because if this moment was simply about her collecting a trophy of someone she killed, then she could have taken something from the box. But she didn't. She chose something biological, something intimate, something that's connected to his core. And then there's the detail you can't ignore. When Sophia extracts the tooth is black at the roots. And black at the core could symbolize something being long dead or corrupted deep within. Like maybe something was festering inside of him long before he arrived. And that makes me think, who else in Fromville can have teeth that are black at the core? And it really has me looking at everybody with the side eye and questioning what type of person they were before they entered Fromville. And if Fromville is choosing residents who were already corrupted in the real world, then was Acosta right?
I'm a good person, and I don't deserve to be here. None of us deserve to be here. I don't know that.
So let's zoom out for a bit, because this isn't the first time that From has shown us that objects hold a lot of significance. Obviously, we saw that the man in yellow had items of Sophia that allowed him to shapeshift into her. We know that Victor was told to bury the belongings of the dead. And we know that the town stores items from the past residents in the diner. And you couple all of that with Boyd sending Acosta to the basement and asking her to sort through all of the belongings and see if she could put together some type of crime scene to try to make sense of all of the items down there. All of this combined, this raises a lot of questions for me. Why do items matter so much in Fromville? Because if they're not just memories, what if they're anchors, points of attachment that keep something tied to a specific place, a specific body, or a specific reality? Something that may still hold a connection to whatever this place really is. And that detail matters so much to me when I consider what it rules out. And as I've mentioned in my previous From videos, I always thought that Fromville was some type of system based off of Ethan's books. And I still think it's a possibility that Fromville is an experiment, a constructed reality, or even a controlled system. But I no longer think that Fromville is a simulation just because of that tooth. Sophia extracting that tooth just doesn't fit the simulation narrative. Because if this were just a simulation, something purely digital or imagined, there would be no reason to focus on something so specific, something so biological. That tooth must serve something grounded, something tangible. Because if it was just a simulation, nothing physical would matter, but it does. And this means that whatever the system is, it must be grounded in something real. And if this place is real in the ways that matter, then whatever's watching it might be real too. which leads me to clue number 2. At the funeral, we see a large group of crows appear, and something about that moment feels intentional. Because it's not just the crows, it's the way the people react to them also. Sophia looks visibly uncomfortable, and why would something such as crows make her look nervous? Unless she was just trying to fit in with the crowd. But to me, she looked genuinely concerned and genuinely curious as well. Now look closer at the scene itself. The crows, they just don't show up. They appear to be closer to the grave of the priest and not the grave of Jim. And that detail matters because if the priest is connected to morals, to something spiritual, something tied to belief, then the crows might not just be reacting to death. They might be reacting to who died. But what really bothers me when I'm trying to understand the relationship between the crows and the priest, or the crows and the man in yellow, is that when the priest and the man in yellow, aka Sophia, when they encountered the falling tree that everyone encounters before they're trapped in Fromville, there were no crows at all. But after the funeral, Julie says something that completely reframes that moment. She doesn't say that the crows were watching, she says that the crows were celebrating. And that raises a bigger question for me, because what exactly were the crows celebrating if what Julie is saying is true? Because if my theory is right and this place is some type of system, then the crows don't feel random at all. They feel more like a response, a reaction to something that just happened or something that is about to happen. And we all saw the crows even showed up when Victor pissed his pants when he saw the man in yellow's jacket in the forest. And if the man in yellow does represent enforcement and control, then maybe the crows represent something else. Because if the crows are celebrating, then something about what just happened, the priest dying and Jim dying, went exactly the way the system wanted it to go. And clue number 3 is when Victor said, so the pictures would remember. After the funeral, Victor gives Tabitha a drawing of her family made with crayons. It's a very kind gesture, a comforting one. But then he says something that completely changes the way that we should read it. He says, when I was a boy, I drew pictures so the pictures would remember. Not so he would remember, so that the pictures would remember. And this isn't the first time we've heard Victor say this, so it can't be a throwaway line at this point. Unless in Fromville, memory doesn't belong to people. It belongs to things. Now think about what we've already seen regarding objects. We see objects being collected, objects being buried, objects being stored, and now objects that can remember. So what if Victor wasn't just coping as a child through his drawings? What if he knew something about this place that nobody else figured out? That memory doesn't stay in your mind. It gets transferred. It gets anchored, which would explain why he always draws. Because if people forget or if identities reset, the drawing doesn't. It holds on to something, and that connects directly back to what we saw with the man in yellow. He didn't take something from the priest that was symbolic. He took something that was physical, something that may hold data. And now Victor's doing the same thing, it's just in a different way. Instead of extracting pieces, he's preserving them. And that creates a really interesting contrast. The man in yellow collects, and Victor archives. So both of them are interacting with the same idea, that something about a person can live on outside of them. And if that's true, then the scariest part isn't just that people die here. It's that parts of them might still be stored somewhere in the system, which raises an even bigger question. If the pictures can remember, what happens when someone or something starts accessing those memories? Because at that point, this isn't just a place where people are trapped. This is a place where people are being recorded and reused. And clue number 4 is the way that the boy in white is aging so rapidly. Seeing the boy in white grow up so quickly really got me thinking about the other ghosts or spirits in Fromville. And they don't seem to be aging anywhere near as rapidly as the boy in white. Nonetheless, in this episode, we see Tabitha and Henry. They're at the bottle tree. Tabitha is attempting to go back to the lighthouse, but the boy in white appears, and Tabitha immediately says to him, "Why are you here? Why do you look so different?" And in a place where time feels so broken, looped, controlled, or on reset, the fact that one entity is aging suggests something very specific. Either the boy in white isn't bound by the same rules as the other entities, or even worse, maybe he's being affected by something that the others aren't. And then he says something even more unsettling. He says to Tabitha, "You're getting so close now, but I'm afraid you're running out of time." So now time isn't just abstract in Fromville anymore. It's a resource. It's a countdown now. We see a limit. And then there's a detail that's subtle, but it's too intentional to ignore. The boy in white shirt, his shirt now has 7 buttons, where in the past he only had 6 buttons on his shirt. And I understand that he's grown significantly, so he has a larger torso and a larger shirt. But listen, we all know that the numbers 4 and 7 hold significance in Fromville. So if you look at the shirt, again, now he has 7 buttons, but also any typical button typically has 4 holes in it that you could put your stitching through to attach it to any fabric. So think about it. Now we have our numbers 4 and we have 7. So to me, that just increases the urgency of the situation. We know that Kenny recently mentioned the boy that is 47 people in the town. Now we're seeing the number 47 appear again. It just seems like something significant is about to happen. And whether it's intentional or not, the show keeps layering these numbers in different ways. And when patterns start repeating like that, it usually means that we should pay attention. And focusing back on those 7 buttons that we see on the shirt, the number 7 represents a lot of things. It represents completion, cycles, the end of a sequence. And this makes the boy in white, his aging, seem less random. It seems more like a progression, like he's moving through stages, like something is advancing. And if you think back to the ghosts, spirits, and entities that we see on this show, they typically exist outside of normal time. But the boy in white, he's different. He's evolving, which raises a bigger question. Is the boy in white still just a guide? Is he good? Is he bad? Or is he something that's been inside this system long enough that is starting to change him? Because if time is now affecting him, then whatever this place is not static, it's moving forward. And if it's moving forward, then eventually something has to reach its end. And clue number 5 is the location of Ethan's books underneath their old collapsed house. So Julie, we see that she gets caught by Randall. She has rope and she is about to go to their old house that collapsed so she could find Ethan's books. Why? Because Ethan told her that he learned about story walking from those books. And Julie wants to learn how to master her story walking so she could go back and save Jim. And I think the location of the books, being that they're underneath the house, really matter. There was a comment I received on one of my last From videos, and somebody had a beautiful theory that all of the answers lie beneath. And then I watched this episode and I see that the books are underneath the house, underneath all of that debris. So there is some type of pattern there. And we've seen this pattern before. We know that a lot of the important things are underneath. Even in the colony house on this episode, we see that Fatima and Elgin, they are creating a pile of dirt, like something is about to be buried. And obviously we've seen this pattern before of things being hidden underneath. We see the caves underneath, the monsters live down there, and lots of buried objects. So now it's not just about where the answers are, it's about what this place is trying to hide. Because in Fromville, the deeper you go, the closer you get to the truth. But also the more dangerous it becomes, which makes this feel intentional. Like this place doesn't want certain knowledge to be found. So now we have to ask, if this is a system, who decides what stays on the surface and who decides what goes underneath? Now let's move on to questions I have after watching that episode. My boy Jade, what is he going to do with those mushrooms? A, is he just going to ingest them to unlock certain aspects of his memory or brain? Or B, we know that Jade is a science guy now. Is he going to run some type of experiment with the mushrooms to find out what's going on underneath Fromville? Because in the real world, mushrooms grow in networks underground, connecting everything beneath the surface. So I'm just wondering what Jade's plans are. And the second person I want to know what their plans are is Sophia. Sophia decided that she's going to live with Sarah, and Sarah said yes. So I'm thinking that maybe Sophia, aka the man in yellow, is she going to start killing certain people and framing Sarah for the murder? It'll be so easy for Sophia to frame Sarah, being Sarah's history with all of the people that she already killed. So I cannot wait to see what's in store with those two roommates. And speaking of the man in yellow, what does Victor know about him that made him piss in his pants at the sight of seeing the yellow jacket in the forest? Victor has so much intimate knowledge of Fromville. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Victor, but it makes me side-eye him. And also, I was somewhat surprised that Victor didn't know about the Lake of Tears. I'm not sure why I thought from his past drawings that he had a drawing of the Lake of Tears before. I really need to go back and study Victor's drawings to find out exactly what he knows. And the last question, what will Acosta find down in that basement? I absolutely loved how Boyd gave her purpose, gave her a reason to live. And I'm so curious how she's going to put everything together and create somewhat of a crime scene. So I'm really looking forward to see her findings. And I could go on and on and on. I actually did like this episode. I see a lot of people say that it was a slower episode, but I really enjoyed it. But if you made it this far in the video, guys, please drop me down a purple heart below. And also let me know what other shows you're watching. But anyway, guys, you stay safe out there. As always, let me know what theories, what clues, any symbolisms that you saw in this episode. I love you all. You stay safe out there. Peace.